Now this video I'm calling Sacrum Power, and it continues really from my video about the qua, which is this. It's the bridge across the back of the hips, and the sacrum here is between, in the middle, connecting into the spine. It's the lowest part of the spine. So first of all, we need to activate the qua, that is the tendons and the ligaments in the hip joint. See, I've opened the hips at the front, but I'm still squeezing the glutes, driving the hips forward, but I've got to maintain this neutral spine, a slight backwards arch in the lumbar, so my hips are actually projecting backwards a little bit. There's a slight anterior pelvic tilt, just right, but the hips are open and dynamic in the front and the back. That's the qua. You're activating the ligaments in the joint. Then I'm taking it down the legs to the ankle. You see, my body weight is actually going a bit towards the toes. So now I can activate the sacrum. So if I squeeze the glutes, drive the sacrum forward, this is providing power into my spine. So this is the real secret to internal power in Tai Chi and all these internal martial arts. It's activating the bone structure. And the bone structure, we need to connect the legs into the spine. The power in the legs comes from the rubber legs. Again, the last two videos, rubber legs, rubber arms. But it's got to connect from the legs into the qua, the hip joint, and the hips have got to go deeper into the spine, the sacrum. So now I'm sinking into the horse riding stance, activating the sacrum power, so he can't push me over. Now I've got the weaker position. My legs are parallel. He's got 1 foot forward. So it's very difficult to hold strength here unless you've got the tensegrity and the correct structure. So now this will only work if I can activate the qua and the sacrum power and connect it into the spine up to where he's pushing me. So what he's got to do here, first of all, build the rubber legs. You've got to create this dynamic stretch in the legs. Your weight comes over the toes, so you're activating the ankles. At the same time, sitting down into a chair so that your hips project a little bit back. So I've got a cushion in the hip joint. I'm activating a stretch in the hip joint. Then I've got to maintain the neutral spine, hold the belly in, and then squeeze the glutes, drive the sacrum forward so that I can absorb the push. Or he can absorb me pushing. So I'm, of course, pushing him. But you've got to practice very slowly and carefully. There's no cheating. You'll feel it in the body. You'll feel where the force does not transmit. So this is how we can all practice against a wall. See, I've got the horse riding stance, weight is on the toes, I've got a cushion in the ankle, I've got the neutral spine, opening up the hips at the front and the back. Now I'm driving the sacrum forward into the rib cage. Shoulders are up and back, see, I've got the rubber arms as well as the rubber legs. Then I've got to hold a strong spine to transmit into the arms. Belly and the obliques are pulled tight. It's the neutral spine connected to the sacrum, connected to the qua, the ligaments in the hip joint. Then you drive the hips forward from the legs, and that all goes all the way down into the ankles. So really I'm leveraging from the Achilles tendon, bouncing in the toes. That goes through to the hip joint. The hip joint is active, open. So now I create more tension. Remember, I've got to squeeze the glutes. That is driving my hips forward, but at the same time project the hips a little bit backwards. I've got to maintain the exact neutral spine and hold it under dynamic tension, then drive my body weight forward from the sacrum. So it's very tricky, and when you push the wall, of course, it does not go anywhere, so you can push as hard as you can, but you'll feel it where you lose the strength. See, sometimes you'll lose it in the shoulders or the legs. So once more, you see, now here from the stance, this is the psoas muscle. So the psoas muscle runs underneath the legs like this to the back of the hips, and that levers you forwards. So when I project my hips back, I'm activating the psoas muscle. That's pulling me forward. So the psoas pulls me down, but I squeeze the glutes to push me forward. I need both. Dynamic tension between the psoas muscle and the glutes. Then I can activate the hip joint, the qua. Then I can drive the sacrum forward. The sacrum connects to the center of gravity. Here, pulling the psoas down, then driving the sacrum forward. This gives me the connection between the rubber legs and the spine. Now I can move about. You see, it's got to be freestyle. This is just the internal structure. Once you get it right, you can do anything. You've just got to maintain that structure. So now here's a full exercise. just pushing and pulling. You see the rubber arms, previous video, shoulders go up and forward as I pull the arms back, but shoulders go up and back as I push the arms forward. Using the rib cage in the spine, breathing in as I pull back, out as I go forward, but I'm also using the rib cage. Again, you've got to look at the rubber arms video, then connecting it to the hips and the legs, but I'm using the sacrum to drive forward each time. So that is the center of power, the center of the skeleton connecting to the ground. So the sacrum will rise up to the rib cage, the sternum. So now my arms are pushing from the chest, but the power connects to the sacrum down to the legs. So everything has to connect, and you have to feel this connection, hold it with isometric tension. So the ligaments, the joints, there's a stretching tension in the joints. Then I breathe and move through that while maintaining it. So now we can apply a bit of force, but you cannot cheat. You see, our legs are parallel. That means if you push, you fall over. One leg forward is stronger. So to do this with any strength, the only way is to activate the sacrum power. The sacrum connects to the quad, the stretch in the ligaments of the hip joint. That goes down the legs to the ankle. See, I'm on my toes, on the ball of the foot. I'm cushioning all the way into the ankle so I can drive from the ankle. The Achilles tendon is pushing forward, but that goes into the sacrum. The sacrum drives my body weight forward. That goes into the spine, and then I push. So now we're practicing a little bit of fighting. Easy, natural fighting. So again, we have to do slowly and carefully. That's why Tai Chi is like this. Because it's not fighting, we're trying to find this internal structure. So it's very difficult. See, now we're just pushing and pulling, but I'm trying to bounce from the ankles into the quad, into the sacrum. See, I'm driving forward as I step, but squeezing the glutes, driving from the sacrum. So now I'm letting him try. He's got to drive forward using the ankles, bouncing in the ankles, rubber legs, into the hip joint, then driving the pelvis forward through the sacrum, but maintaining the correct position of the pelvis. Again, you have to maintain the neutral spine. It's the most efficient. It's the natural position where the spine can transmit force, but if you don't hold tension, it will be weak. You've still got to hold this internal tensegrity. Now we're moving a bit faster, more movement in the arms. So now I've got to transmit the force from the legs, from the sacrum, driving forward but up into arms. And the arms can move freely. So I've got to transfer this into different movements. Now we're getting force again. Pushing quite strong. Again, carefully. Now, see that push. Now I drive from the sacrum. See, from the sacrum right up into the chest. So it's not the arms. It's got to be the spine. Then the spine will connect to the rib cage. Rib cage connects to the scapula. Scapula goes through the rubber arms. And I'm absorbing his force all the way through the structure, down into the ankle. So again, there's a sequence. And if we can get this right, it's very powerful indeed, and it's effortless. Remember, there's two ways of using the tensegrity. I relax and let him push me, and it stretches my joints. And then I can rebound, activate isometric tension in the joints, and push back. So now we're doing both. Pushing and pulling, bouncing, absorbing and bouncing. Freely in the arms. Now you see a lot of force, but trying to take the force into the sacrum. So now I'm pushing him, again with my sacrum, he's absorbing with his. I've got 1 foot forward, he's got 2 feet parallel. So I've got the stronger position there, but I'm feeling him carefully. Now he did very well, and that you see, when you get it right, is a massive energy also passes through your body. This is the blood flow. The joints are open and the bones are correct. Massive blood flow, massive energy flow will happen. This you can use in martial arts, or it's just very good for you. So thank you so much for watching. Please do leave me any questions or comments, and I look forward to seeing you in any of these other videos here.